Good morning. This is Charlotte Pierce, producer and host of Rowing Chat's Ready Row USA, which is a part of the Rowing Chat network of podcasts. And we have some sound over there. They must be doing some work at CRI.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have some exciting guests with us today. We're going to be talking about the new status of community rowing in Boston as a site for the Paralympic training center, and Ellen Minzner will be explaining all about that, and it's just been announced. So we're very excited at CRI and around the country to have this great training center. And so, as I said, Ready Row USA is part of the Rowing Chat Network, and please visit rowing.chat. That's the URL. So it's a kind of an atypical URL, but you can go there and subscribe, and we'll let you know when the episodes are coming up. We have moved to Wednesdays at 11. Most of the time we'll be announcing any changes to that. But like I said, today we have Mark Wilson of All American Rowing Camp and many other entities in the rowing world. And hi, Mark.
Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Helen.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Great.
I don't think I'm going to go through your whole resume, Mark.
Please don't.
And then Ellen Minzner, who's the U.S. Rowing Para High Performance Director and new staff.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Got a lot of work to do, though.
I bet you do. And Nancy Diessner is going to get some credit here. She's a rower at CRI and is running the tech behind the scenes. So hopefully we'll go a little bit smoother than we have in some of our past episodes. Anyway, let's start with Ellen. And if you could just tell us what this means for the rowing world, the para-rowing world, and tell us a little bit about what we can expect there at CRI.
Yeah, well, we're really excited to have the National Team Training Center designation, because what it does is help underscore the efforts that we've been putting into para rowing over the last 6 years here at Community Rowing, as well as give us a platform for sharing best practices and all the information that we've learned, mainly we've made more mistakes than most people just by the volume of people that we see come through our doors here at CRI with disabilities. So we'll take our expertise from the PR34, which has been on the podium for the last 5 years. We've got another couple of high-level athletes training here now, Hallie Smith, who is in the PR1 women's single with a bronze medal last year. So we're really trying to create a very high-performance, competitive environment that will allow all the categories to thrive here. But we also want to serve as a resource for the many trials events where they have athletes and coaches training at different sites away from CRI, that they can still benefit from, rigging, training techniques, equipment innovations, all those things that we've been developing in-house. We just have a great platform to share that with the rest of the country, because we need more people to be part of that brain trust that really helps move the whole thing forward. So we're looking forward to that. We're just kind of getting started with getting the equipment out there to other coaches, letting them know what our resources are, and just getting in touch with the athletes and coaches that we know are preparing for trials.
And how many of these centers are there in the country? Where are they besides now?
Well, you've got the one out in California, and obviously the Princeton PNRA Mercer Training Center, and then Chula Vista out in San Diego as well. So this is really the only one that's kind of dedicated to para rowing, and it's also unique in that it's embedded into a full-on community access club, which we think is actually a very positive thing. And there's a lot of rowers here at CRI, so it makes for some crowded scheduling at times. But some of the things that we've been able to do at CRI is really engage the full community. They help us with host family housing for visiting athletes. We have, high-level people in the shop working on equipment innovations, not just your typical repair shop. So we really do engage the community in a way that maybe other clubs don't have the capacity to do. And we want everyone to feel like they're part of the Paralympic movement. If you're a member here at CRI, you can have a piece on the path to Tokyo, and that's a pretty exciting dynamic, we think.
It was so cool to, we I'm a rower there, and I love volunteering, and also came to that event last year where you had all the rowers were leaving for, I guess, the World Championships. Or was
Yeah, that's right. We're just about to head off to Bulgaria. We had a little send off for the athletes. It was great.
It was so inspiring. It was so great. And so the PR3, what does that mean? PR3.
Sure. Yeah, there's 3 designations for para rowing in the Paralympic Games. PR3 is the most high functioning, so they are kind of minimal physical disability. You may not notice it at first, but as you watch up close, they have a limb deficiency as general or a visual impairment that limits their ability to train or execute the full rowing stroke. And the next levels represent increased impairment. So the PR2 would be having just the upper body function only, trunk and arms they used to call it, and PR1 is the most restricted of all the Paralympic categories, and that's just the arms and shoulders. So they typically have a spinal cord injury or otherwise very limited upper body function, and so PR1, 2, and 3 represent the different categories.
So is it Shayla Donahoe?
Yes. Yeah.
Has been appointed coach of the U.S. PR3.
Yeah, that's correct. Shayla had been an assistant with me for a few years. Yeah, that's a nice old-timey photo there. Nice work there, Nancy. That's Shayla in the 92 Olympic Games. And she and I have been friends and coaching colleagues for a long time. I brought her on board with me in 2014, realizing that even though it's it's a fairly complex event with 2 men, 2 women, Cox 4. We wanted somebody with some college coaching experience to bring in. So she was a huge help, and she knows the system. And in this new training center role, it needs some leadership and needed me to step out of the coaching role. So Shayla was appointed just a few weeks ago. I don't even think the official announcement has gone out, so you guys are kind of first to hear other than the athletes themselves. But she'll bring a lot of experience working with the collegiate system, access to athletes. Some of her own athletes from URI have actually become eligible for para rowing. And also that Cox 4 being an instrumental event at the NC2A Championships. That's not an event that I've really coached since my days back at the Minzner School, New England Forest School. So we're excited to sort of build a dynasty where we're starting with coaches and coach education. We're bringing on more coaches, and we're working with Tom Darling, who's now in a fundraising role. We really need to make sure that para rowing doesn't break the bank for everybody. We know we're not going to make $1 million, but we need coaches to get excited about the sport, excited about taking their athletes to the next level. And that's got to mean we got to provide some financial support for them and some logistical and coaching resource support. So that's what our goal is as a training center from the get-go.
That's awesome. Well, it certainly enriches my experience as a rower at CRI. So
yeah.
For spearheading that. Mark, did you have any comments on this before you go into your
I think I just think it's fantastic, and I've known Shayla as well for many years, and know that she'll do a great job, and the rest of the team there at CRI. So it's just all good news. So congratulations.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, Mark has a good story about from the All-American Rowing Camp. You had a blind rower there at one time, didn't you?
Yeah. We've coached numerous types of folks here over the years, and it's always been fun. So.
And they're just part of the mix.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, last year I had a single sculler who was she was completely blind and rowing the single in a normal racing single, and she used all of her senses, and it was really great. It was really fun to see, and she did great.
You did the steering for her?
A little bit, but she basically rode behind or next to another single, and then she could hear the sound of the catches and the boat running underneath her and underneath the other rower, and then was able to steer based upon her sound. It was really great.
That's incredible.
And that was a river situation too. It was not like just out in the middle of a lake somewhere. So pretty cool.
One of the gadgets we might add at some point to the discussion is the remote steering that was demonstrated. We're gonna, once the wind calms down here in Boston, we're gonna give it a shot where there's actually a remote rudder, so a visually impaired person can train with some remote assistance steering from the coach, or even a guide boat as well.
Very cool. And Mark, what's this this Dexter Reservoir?
Some of the things that I was kind of bringing up this week, and thanks again, Charlotte, for organizing, and thanks to our sponsors for hosting us and everything. But I just wanted to, kind of bring out, I know a couple things, and that this is kind of that time of year. And again, we touched on this last week or the week before, how spring is so different across the country. And, some people are literally still in ice out situations up in northern Michigan, and others are, into state championships. So it's crazy how wide and diverse our country is, and how athletes kind of adapt to that. And I think that's really interesting. And I think one of these great races that a lot of people don't really know about, and it's been going on for a long time, is this covered bridge regatta out in Eugene, Oregon. I had the pleasure of doing a camp out there a number of years ago, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful location. So I did a little preview on it, and there's some pictures from Instagram posted up, and some of the folks that are out there are just really fantastic. And they had 500 entries, 28 clubs, almost exclusively from where you could imagine: Oregon, Washington, Northern California, and then there were a couple of folks, the teams that had come in from Utah and stuff like that. But one of the things I thought was kind of interesting, and here they're doing a 2-day regatta, and they've got 2,000 meter races for the juniors and the collegiate rowers. And then again, this, us, these crazy old people are trying to do 1,000 meter pieces. And I just throw a question, maybe we'll get some responses on our YouTube channel or discussion boards or whatever. Is kind of think about what the current masters think about that. Women's rowing, long time ago, started out as 1,000 meters in the Olympic distance, and now obviously everybody's doing 2,000 meters. But should masters be doing 1,000? Should they be doing 2,000? Should we be doing less? I don't know. So I would just like to see if there was some discussion out there, and maybe bring our listeners into the program a little bit to see what their thoughts are. We're semi-affiliated now with the Masters Rowing International group on Facebook. And that's about 5,000 people. So y'all just pile on there when we put the notices of the shows up, and ask your questions and respond to the things that we bring up. We'd like to know what you think. Yeah,
sure. And Mark, regarding the change, also the not too long ago, just the para rowing went from 1,000 meters to 2,000, and it was great gnashing of teeth and wringing of hands, and 2,000 meters has proven to be what I think is a success, and I think will even be more a success when we can make some changes to the equipment that will allow the rowers to be a bit more efficient on the water, since you're going twice the distance.
Perfect.
Right.
Yeah. So
right.
Mark, I was going to ask you something you mentioned when we were doing our rehearsal, so to speak. How old can you be in order to win how old is too old to win a race?
Oh, I don't think there's any age limit. I think that's one of the beauties of rowing. That's what keeps people going. People are 80, 90 years old, and they're still competing. There's a bit, and rowing is one of these sports. You can participate like any sport, but you can truly compete because of the age group designations and stuff. So I think it's great to be able to continue to compete if one desires, and you can just keep on going. So, but
you told me about some not so old if you're me, but a guy at the boat race, right?
Yeah. So this is the next little bit. I thought it was just kind of interesting, comparison or contrast to our little Dexter Reservoir and covered bridge regatta out there in Oregon, is the boat race. Probably, I think it's probably one of the oldest continually run rowing events in the world, if not actual athletic events in general. But 165th running of the Oxford Cambridge boat race went off this past weekend. 74th annual for the women's side, and started in 1829. So, it's been going on for quite a while, and it really hasn't changed all that much. But I thought it was pretty interesting that in that race this year, the oldest competitor ever in the boat race competed, and he's not a normal 46-year-old. His name is James Cracknell, two-time Olympian, rode the Atlantic, for goodness sakes. He's biked across America, so he's not your normal kind of guy. But to earn a spot in amongst the most elite of elite rowers and be 46 years old says a lot. And I think that's one of the neat things about our sport, is that it continues to evolve, and it's not and mature as well. And it's not just the young bucks that are 25, 26, 28 years old that are hitting their prime. It's a lot of these older guys. And we had Greg Searle in the Olympics for Great Britain this past Olympics as well. So I think, again, there's pretty cool things. So there's hope for us older dudes, as we go along.
Yes,
so.
Well, I aim to, if I get into the head of the Charles, I aim to improve my placing a little bit. But
yeah, well, that's what we're all trying to do. And I think that's the other thing I wanted to bring up right now is just, how are you improving? What is your job as an athlete? What is your goal? And I know Ellen has some great thoughts on this, and she's in Boston, which is 1,000 miles north of where I am. I'm in Florida. We don't ever get off the water, but oftentimes, well, except in August, in August we tend to go off the water because it's too hot. But I think the thing right now is that oftentimes in the northern climes, people are literally pushing off the ice. I've seen all these pictures on Instagram and on Facebook and on Twitter and everything, and it's like, they show the pictures of the ice drizzling down on the riggers, and it's exciting and all. And when I was in college, we did the same thing, but you do have to be safe. So I think one of the things that I want to bring up and just kind of remind everybody is that, and hopefully by now, middle of April, the ice is gone and freezing temperatures, but that little blizzard that blasted through, kind of reinforces this. But the water is still cold, so be careful. Don't do stupid stuff for short-term gains of getting one row in. When you could really hurt yourself, it'd be bad. So
yeah, look at there's the ice rowing. That's so cool. With the little spikes,
Yeah.
We actually at CRI, we had a guy go in last week, and then he got back in the boat, and then he fell back in, and he had to be fished out and taken to the hospital. So it's real. The danger is real.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else to add to that, Ellen, or?
No, I just think, especially for all the young people, there is this real intense pressure to get that water time in, because as Mark said, the championship season, it's halfway over by the time some crews are getting on the water. So you feel like that date's not going to change. It comes around in early May every year for that championship, and it is best not to take chances. And I've always felt it's very good to keep in touch with the erg, because as you want to get back outside, and especially in the Northeast, but keeping in touch with the erg keeps everybody honest, and allows a little bit more control of the workout for the coaches, rather than a blustering windy day. If you're going to spend 20 minutes sort of, God forbid, rescuing a rower from cold water, or just even managing coaching rowers who are just so bundled up you can't quite see their angles. You may not be shortchanging yourself by staying one more day on the rowing machine. You can get a lot of technique done. There's a lot of good training, and as I said, a very controlled environment for the coach to actually address some of those technical changes, especially if you've got sliders or some of these dynamic ergs or an RP3, a very, very excellent tool. And I would prefer that over a cold, blustery day myself.
Right. I think one of the things that you're talking about, and I would 100% agree with, is it's all about quality. So oftentimes in rowing, we think we need to get quantity, but it's really about quality, and you can get really good quality work done on the erg, or if there is a small spot, or if you need to go out and work on things in a team boat, you don't have to just go for miles and miles and go through the bad water. Find a smaller section of river or water that's safe, not too far from the boathouse, that if something does happen, you can get back to quickly.
Well,
and
another thing that
use
happened,
those.
I'm sorry.
Just quality over quantity is so important, and then you've gotten your meters in over the winter. If those are good, then you're probably good. So I think the whole idea of just making sure you're smart, don't get emotional, and don't think, it's sunny right now, but the water's, literally 36 degrees.
Right.
And I have to say, this morning I had a great row, did a pretty strong 13K. And in the last 500 meters, I'm doing some square blade rowing, and guess what happened? I went swimming today, just this morning. So, it can happen anywhere and anytime, but my water is 72, 74 degrees. And,
But what you got in your water, Mark, is the alligators.
Yeah, I was not too far from the boathouse though, so I was fine.
Well,
I didn't really think about the alligators.
I am never going to forget my alligator experience in Florida, but that was hilarious. But anyway, I just wanted to say we have about 2 more minutes, and we wanted to. I actually neglected to call out our sponsors. We have Row Tours. Rowtours.com are one of our longer term sponsors, and they do international rowing adventures in the UK and elsewhere internationally. It's a great thing to do for a vacation, really healthy. I do it myself, and I'm just a big advocate of rowing vacations. Even though my family doesn't row, I managed to fit it in. And so thank you to Row Tours. We just really appreciate their sponsorship. And the other, our other sponsor just came on is Just Strong athletic gear for women. So it's all completely made for women. It's really high quality. They have all sorts of accessories as well as just gear that's actually made for women. So some of the boathouse, I won't mention the brand, but when they say unisex, it's for people who are straight up and down. So thank you to Just Strong for coming along and providing this great gear, and for sponsoring the Ready Row USA podcast. It's just fantastic to have you on board. So take a look at their stuff, really good stuff. I wanted to emphasize that we have a news submission form. So if you'd like to submit your own news for your rowing club or your personal, like if you want a regatta, we want to know about that. We want to just kind of sample the news around the country and just give little glimpses of what people are doing in the community, rowing community. We have an item this month from the Putney Rowing Club. They're hosting Learn to Row clinics and lessons, and they're really getting active with Learn to Row right now. And they are in Putney, Vermont. So I think they're out on the water. I'm not sure, but they're gearing up for their Learn to Row. And they have lots of other programs too. Another item that U.S. Rowing provided was the Northeast Mid-Atlantic Masters Regatta. And that's in Lowell, Massachusetts. And I think my tech support person, Nancy, and I are going to be rowing in that. We hesitate to claim any positions yet, but we'll see how it goes. It's all a great test of where you are as a person and a rower. Right after that is the Cromwell Cup. It's a sprint on the Charles River at Cambridge. The CRI, the Community Rowing Fundraising Gala, is going to be on May 9th. Are you going to be going to that, Ellen?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it's a big kickoff. We actually have a lot of great auction items. I think some of the stuff is going online soon, if not already. So you can find out more about it at communityrowing.org. I know for sure as training center, we got a full set of men's and women's national team kit is going to be auctioned off as well.
Wow.
So if you're interested in earning some gear in a little bit different way, other than going down to trials, you could check out that and a lot of other great stuff at the CRI auction.
Yeah, so that's May 9th, and communityrowing.org is where you can get tickets or even bid remotely on items.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love the models that we had from the coaches, and people were modeling the idea.
Yeah, it was a good photo shoot.
Yeah. The next item is the Maritime Rowing in Norwalk has a new boathouse. Have you been down there, Mark?
No, I haven't. I just saw pictures of it yesterday, though, so that's pretty cool and pretty exciting for them. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the kind of news we'd like to get coming in, and we have a form. So if you go to rowing.chat and the Ready Row USA, we'll have the form on each of our blog posts or show notes about the episodes we do. So again, thank you to our sponsors and Rowing Tours and Just Strong Athletic Gear. Thank you so much. And to Mark and Ellen, any last words that you'd like to wrap up with?
I'd just say get out there on the water, but be safe, have fun, and row well. So
absolutely. If the wind dies down here, we'll be able to do just that here in Boston. I just want to thank you, Charlotte, for organizing this, and great always to chat with you, Mark, and we'll see you soon.
As well. Thank you.
This is Charlotte Pierce signing off, and we are coming back on next week. We're going to be moving to Wednesdays at 11, so we'll see you. Actually, next Wednesday, we're doing one in the evening, but we'll be announcing it. So thank you all for joining, and thanks to our new subscribers.
Thank you.